I was mentioning earlier today, I think that technology is this incredible potential force for good, but it also has problems and limits, and we have to understand how we can best use it for good, but also avoid some of the traps of technology. When it comes to training young people, the obvious advantage of technology is you can just leverage and reach more people very quickly. So when I started my campaign in 2008, we were one of the earliest adapters of social media, and we weren't favored in my election, but the big advantage I had was I had a lot of enthusiastic volunteers and supporters all across the country. It would have been impossible for us to directly coordinate with all of them without building some huge staff and bureaucracy and infrastructure. The fact that we had social media available fairly early, not, by the way, because I was so brilliant, but because I had a bunch of young people who said, why don't we try this thing? And we were using MySpace back then. I mean, like, you know, Facebook didn't exist, and Twitter, I don't think, did either at that point. That's how old I am. But what it meant was we could just send out information. You know, if we had somebody in a fairly remote area who wanted to start being part of our campaign, we could just transmit information to them directly, tell them, here's Obama's stance on all the issues, here's how you should approach organizing your local community, and suddenly they had a tool that they could work with, and they could communicate back with us. And so that basic principle, right, that right now I can reach millions of people just through writing a quick note on a device, allows us then to get more information more quickly to more people, and then have them interact and get feedback. And that's wonderful. Now, when it comes to technology and education, what we found is, and because you're a teacher, I think it's important to emphasize, it doesn't replace the importance of teachers. And what I've seen sometimes is people think, okay, we're going to put a computer in the classroom, and then somehow magically kids are going to be better educated. No, if the teacher is not incorporating the technology into the social context in which children are learning, then it's not going to work. Any training, any leadership development program, if it's just relying on technology, but it's not thinking about how do you, once you have somebody online, how do you also form communities offline? You know, if you've given them information on their devices, how are you allowing them to apply that in a social context and interacting with people? If you're not doing that, then it's probably going to be a failure. It's not a magic fix for everything. And in fact, that brings me to my final point on technology, which is what we're finding now is that the dangers of technology are that it can actually isolate people. So they become so hooked to their device that they no longer have a conversation. And because of the algorithms that are often being used for people when they're searching for information, what we're discovering now is that people start having their pre-existing biases constantly reinforced through the device. And they never hear information that diverges from what they already believe. They stop listening to or interacting with people who don't agree with them. And that's not how you learn. That's not how you become a leader, is simply surrounding yourself with opinions that already fit your own, right? And don't challenge you or force you out of your comfort zone or force you to empathize and think about And so what I'm really trying to focus on is how do we build a digital network in the Obama Foundation that allows people to meet, converge, share ideas, but also forces people to act offline after meeting online, forces people to have conversations outside of the internet, forces them to then meet and engage people who are not already part of the converted. Because I think if you do that, then you have a powerful tool. If you don't do that, then you will limit the amount of influence and impact ultimately that you're going to have. And that's not what we should be teaching our kids, is somehow just to stay in a very narrow, safe place. We want them to get out and meet the world, because that's how they're going to be able to grow their influence. All right?